As a young boy, I was plagued by dreams. Visions of sand and stone. An oasis of calm. Away from my shadows. A port of balance in nature. Forever I had been haunted by the dark. The figures had formed when my breath would leave my body. My soul would tighten in fear. I longed for a calm to the tide within me. To settle the shift of rock beneath. Yet I had heard of a place beyond the wall that achieved balance in every way. As I came of age, I took my father's weapons and began searching, learning how to exist with nature, how to survive, until I found it. The place I had been seeking. After days among the wilds, I found a village built within the stone spires. People who had found balance. Life in the sand. I sought to learn their ways. The peace they so effortlessly seemed to create. I met with their elder, who was kind enough to see my pain, seek to enlighten with knowledge. She told me of their concept of Totakinara, which means oneness with all. The air, the water, the ash. She said the village is not unlike lungs, following a cycle of change. She then said, there is no stillness for anyone. Only the motion of wave that you follow will grant you the peace you seek. Learn to let the current of sand guide you. She then told me that I needed to learn how to hear the land, to put my hands to the ground and feel it breathe. So I set out to the wilderness once again, observing my surroundings, trying to become one with the land, to heed the words of the elder. It was hard at first. I didn't really understand what I should be looking for. But every night, I would lie down and look up at the stars. And every morning, I would wander, thinking about the past, my place in it, and finally learning to open my eyes. I watched as life around me had adapted to its surroundings. From the ruins of the old world to the sands of the new one. I saw unlikely friendships between life both big and small. Groups moved through canyons that formed like rivers. I ventured to the forests, crossing the vines of an ancient and blossoming ecosystem. I started to see how every season brought change. And that change sustained everything. I studied the endemic life. From the winding coasts to the crimson red waters. From small arachnids to those you don't want to wake up. It seemed like everything served a purpose here. From the overflow of water feeding the aquatic world, to flocks of life coming to find mates and nourishment. During the heavy rainfall, I made friends with the Woodwoods. Small little things that would have me over for their gatherings. Feasting. I honestly do not understand how something that small ate that much. But they did. Curious little creatures. They pointed me to the canyons of oil. Where the red rivers turned to black wells. It was hard to believe. Life had adapted to a land with waterfalls of ancients. Of well and sludge. It was survival of the fittest. Only the mightiest earned their stay. I pushed deeper, going beneath the surface. I found waters that glowed under step. Entire river systems underground, pouring into basins of molten lava. Where that ancient warmth gave rise to beasts of undescribable beauty and fear. Every season the wells would fill, and the fires from beneath the stone would push to the surface. Setting all ablaze. Despite all of this, people had formed cities right in the middle of it. They thrived on the change. Everything, from the smallest beetle to the largest star, the humans bending metal and rock to their will. All of it found a way to exist within change. I went from the orange flames to the white cliffs. Past life entombed in the golden ice. It was still and quiet. A marked grave. I started to miss the simplicity of my youth. I had seen enough. On my way back through the Scarlet Forest, a violent storm emerged. Relentless. The Woodwoods told me of an imbalance that had formed. They were scared. They talked about a Leviathan, drunk on the torrential downpour, that was destroying everything. I went to see for myself. Its enormity only rivaled by its rage. Then a ghost came out of the trees, challenging the Titan. It looked like a hunter, like my father, leaping in the air, doing things I hadn't thought possible. I felt it once more, the fear in my soul. My mind ran back. I was a child again, watching as my father faced a creature of great size. I couldn't move. I was frozen. Then I saw her drive it back, retreating into the waters. She went after it. For a brief moment, the sun peered through the storm, lighting the way, blinding the Leviathan's rage. Forcing it into the belly of the waters. The ghost put it to rest once and for all. That's when we met. She said her name was Honora, and told me of her duty of protecting the forest lands, of keeping it in balance. Then asked my business. I explained what the elder had told me, how I had journeyed far to witness all, to fade the shadow within me. She recognized the look, saw it when I had my moment in the trees. She knew the feeling well. I told her where my mind had went. The death of my father. Beast that took him. cloaked in lightning and shadow. That's when she asked,
"If you were given the chance to face your fears, stare into the eye of what did this to you, would you take it?"
I told her I would.
There is one that matches the description from your past, a thundering beast. From the clouds above, only glimpsed during storm and lightning. It has created an imbalance in the sands. I have been aiming to take care of it. You're welcome to join me, but you should also know, if we lay it to rest, it may not purge the shadow within you. Are you okay with that?
I told her I was, and that I would do what I must.
Then we have a journey ahead of us.
That's when she took me to those in the guild. Others like her, and my father, keeping nature in balance. My father's Palico enjoyed being back, after having helped me during this entire journey, never leaving my side after he passed. They took my father's equipment, my equipment, and improved them. The guild gave us knowledge on what we were fighting, and how we can put it to rest. I learned as much as I could. Then we waited for storm to come. The world fell away. I saw its shape in the dark and pursued it.
He's blinded by obsession.
I called out for it to face me. God answered. followed. The storm was growing, and we didn't have much time left. But we found a weak point left by my father.
It has a wound on its chest! Target its heart!
And it all came down to one moment. We had done it. Laid God to rest. But I felt no different. The shadow was still there, and I knew it. The elder was right. The only peace I would ever find is in the motion of sand and current of wave. But I feel like I found a purpose here. Bringing back balance. To let nature go on. Give everything a chance. And just maybe, I'll get better at finding balance within me. At Honora's recommendation, I was asked to join the guild, follow in my father's footsteps, to help bring balance when needed. I accepted.